Well, good evening and welcome to Tucker Carlson tonight. You may think the media are capable only of skepticism and loathing, but think again. Journalists can love, too. Their latest crush, the Democratic People's Republic of North Korea. Kim Yo-jong, whose brother is, of course, the undisputed dictator of that Stalinist hermit kingdom, is at the Winter Olympics this week. And according to the press, she's a huge star, a bigger star even than our vice president, Mike Pence, or for that matter, a bigger star than any of the actual athletes. Don't believe it? Consider some of these descriptions. From the Washington Post, quote, the Ivanka Trump of North Korea captivates. From CNN, she's stealing the show. The New York Times says she turns on the charm. Reuters, the newswire, meanwhile, writes this, quote, North Korea has emerged as the early favorite to grab one of the Winter Olympics' most important medals, the diplomatic gold. Ugh. Well, reporters gushed over the world's last totalitarian state. Mike Pence, who again is the vice president of the United States, was attacked for not standing up to honor North Korean athletes. Watch this.
I thought that Mike Pence said that it was inappropriate to make political statements at sporting events.
If you're in Korea, you need to stand up. You need to stand up and show respect. The Olympics are supposed to be the one place where politics is not supposed to play a part. That's my understanding.
Well, if you're surprised, you shouldn't be. Progressives have a long and dishonorable history of supporting the world's most repressive regimes, no exaggeration. The New York Times, just to name one example, supported Joseph Stalin even as he was murdering up to 12 million Ukrainians in the famous famine there. That paper also led the cheering for Fidel Castro as he turned Cuba into a police state. In 1975, and we're not making this up, when the Khmer Rouge swept to power in Cambodia, the Khmer Rouge, the New York Times made this prediction in a headline, quote, for most, a better life. One of the worst genocides in history followed shortly thereafter. It turned out not to be true. Well, it's hard to find a dictator the left has not supported. Chairman Mao, Hugo Chavez, Idi Amin. These people seem to have nothing in common but one thing. They all hate America. Turns out progressive activists also have one thing in common. They resent their fathers. That's where their politics come from. The rest is just window dressing. Deirdre Griswold is editor of Workers' World. It's a weekly communist newspaper that supports the North Korean regime, where she has visited, and she joins us tonight. Deirdre, thanks for coming on.
Hello.
So you're a longtime communist. You're a longtime supporter of the DPRK. You visited at the invitation of the government. You think its leaders are great. When you see CNN and Reuters agreeing with you that its leaders are great, that must validate you. I mean, you must cheer as you watch the Olympic coverage.
I've been to both North Korea and South Korea, and I'm on this program because I want to talk to the people who watch your show and make a serious point that we're in the process of moving towards a nuclear war. And they have never experienced that, but the Korean people know very much what war is like, and they're not for it. And the people of South Korea don't want war any more than the people of North Korea do. And they showed that at the Olympics when in the opening ceremonies, when they cheered with great joy the fact that the North and the South were marching together.
So since you've been to both countries, I'm just wondering, so one is obviously the world's last Stalinist regime. It's pretty rigidly Marxist. That's North Korea. South Korea is floridly capitalist. It's a market-based economy, which, of course, you reject. Which country would you rather live in personally?
I won't try to answer and debate you on everything you've said. This is your
I'm not
show.
debating
You've
it.
got
No,
the
that's a
whole
sincere.
hour.
Well, that's a sincere question.
I only have a couple of minutes, but what I want to talk about.
You're not going to answer the question?
What I want to talk about is what I think is really of importance to the people of this country. That is that there's a group in Washington that really wants to push for a war. The Korean people don't want it. People here don't want a war, but they don't know what a war is like. They think you just push a button somewhere.
Well, but hold on. Let me just say that I've never said this to a communist before, but I actually agree with you. I don't want a war in Korea, and I think there are people in Washington who are pushing for it. I think you're absolutely right there. I guess where I disagree with you is we don't know what the people of North Korea want because they're not allowed to say what they want.
Well, that's
and I'm a little, really?
Yes,
So
that's
do they have internet access there? Oh, they don't. Okay.
I've been there. They know
Right, I know
what's
you
going
have.
on in the world. They know
Right.
perfectly well what's going on in the world.
How would they know? Because it's illegal to watch a foreign movie there, so how would they know?
You're making up a lot of stuff. The
Is that not
people in
true?
North Korea are very aware of what's going on in the world. North Korea has a 100% literacy rate. Did you know that?
I did, yeah.
I got that figure from the CIA fact book.
Well, I've seen it as well. But if you can't read anything but the propaganda
they are not in some kind of a, jail. They're not. They are.
Really?
They are people who want to get out from underneath the threat of war that the U.S. has posed ever since it invaded their country in 1953.
Okay, now I know you don't want to debate, by which you mean you don't want to answer real questions, but let's just try a couple of them. If they're free, why can't they leave?
Look,
that's a fair question.
Go back and forth. People go back and forth. You're taking this whole in a whole other direction that shouldn't be of any significance to people here.
Wait. Why is it? Look, you're up here speaking.
Why do you
Hold on.
think there are people in Washington who are for a war? Why do you think they're for a war?
That's one of the questions I've never been able to answer in 35 years here. But one question I've been able to answer pretty simply is North Korea a free place, a place you'd want to live, or is it a prison? Do you know what the imprisonment rate in North Korea is? It's 800 per 100,000. You know what it is in South Korea? 100.
Is in the United States, Tucker?
I'm sorry?
You know what the imprisonment rate?
It's very high.
That the U.S. has
it's nowhere near
prisoners
800,
than
though.
any other country in the world?
That's not true, actually.
Oh,
North Korea has... No, that's not true. North Korea is the highest. But let me just ask you a question.
No. I'm talking about the number of prisoners. That's the highest in the world in the United States. That's true.
Right. Okay.
And the majority
so would you
of them
say
are
the
poor
United
people.
States... Hold on.
The majority of them are poor people, and they wouldn't be in jail if they had a lawyer to keep them out of jail.
Right.
Like
Actually,
so many people in Washington and Wall Street have lawyers that
so
keep
I guess
them out of jail.
This is kind of the point I was making, is that no regime, no matter how repressive, no matter how many of its own people it has killed, is ever undefended by the left if it hates America. If North Korea suddenly became pro-American, you wouldn't support it, would you? You know that you wouldn't.
You say that this is a country that hates America.
No, I would say that of North Korea. I think that's fair to say, having...
Did North
going out on a limb there. Yes, I am.
Come over to this country and bomb us? Did they ever do what the U.S. did to Korea? Do you think the Koreans feel good about what the U.S. did to Korea? The U.S. bombed every building over one story during the Korean War.
Right.
The bombers had to come back with their payloads undropped because there were no bombs.
Why do you think you dislike...
Left to bomb.
Hold on. Do you ever, just a quick reality check, do you ever say to yourself, I dislike America, where I live, more than I dislike North Korea.
I don't dislike the people of this country at all. I'm thinking
the country
about
itself.
them as well as the people of Korea.
But why make excuses?
We should not have a war against Korea.
And
these people
I'm with you there. Hold on,
Washington and the Pentagon,
I'm with you there.
Who are actually doing the planning for such a war.
Let me ask you one last question,
there's
if you can do this.
going to be war games coming up against
war games. But let me ask you a question.
They suspended them during the Olympics.
I don't want to have to cut you off. I just want to ask you one last question. It's a sincere one.
Does
it bother you? I got it. Does it bother you at all? Does it make you rethink your defense of North Korea when you see its population starving and its leader dying of obesity?
People there are not starving.
Well, they just had a famine 15 years ago.
Some years ago. This is a country that was left in ashes.
It's our fault.
Just a generation and a half ago.
So is South Korea. How did South Korea get so built up?
They rebuilt their country. They have... if you look at the Koreans, they're the healthiest looking people in the world.
They're the best.
If you look at those
except
Koreans.
for the tapeworms and the tuberculosis. They're awesome. You know what? You should get some dental work.
You are telling people lies about the world, and that's what your station does. And I'm not surprised by that at all.
Well, we're glad to have you on for some truth, Deirdre. Thank you so much.